Hello everyone, welcome back to the Captain Logan Show, the least professional show on the internet. It is me, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. DJ, I've done this two streams in a row now where I'm on screen when you're supposed to be looking at the Geekvolution title.
Oh no, I wasn't even looking.
So I'm playing lead-in music and we're just sitting here like, you guys just gotta wait for the lead-in music to finish.
Well, you know, we've only done 293 of these, so you'll get the hang of it.
At some point. You guys you gotta be patient with me, you know?
Yeah, I expect.
Eventually, I'll figure it out. I'll get the hang of this. Well, DJ, how the heck are you, man? It's good to see you.
I'm wonderful. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm all right. We're a house full of kids.
You do have that.
They're doing great. Everything's
good.
Everything's going fine.
They're all still living?
I'm mostly just kind of like dreading in a few weeks when my wife goes back to work, where like it's kind of more or less blissful right now because like I'm busier and we've got a baby in the house, but like it's all manageable. And Sarah's gonna go back to work, and then I'm gonna have so much on my plate, I'm not going to know what to do with all of it, and it's going to be, it won't be as bad as when the twins were born, but I'm going to be like, I don't know how I'm going to, fit in streams and sleep and all of that, so, and then I'm going to try to make the movie this year. And
I love how streams was first on your list of priorities, and then sleep.
Well, that's the order in which they happen, like, you stream, and then you go to sleep,
Exactly. You're going to have a whole family of Von Trapps to take care of, and...
Yeah, because I did this kind of backwards where, I've been taking the pseudo hiatus. I've still been streaming a lot, but I'm not doing my regular schedule. I'm making a lot of videos that I have to prepare for, right? So it's been, I don't know, it's been relaxing. But then Sarah's going to go back to work, and I'm going to try to bring the schedule back, like, when things get more complicated. Like, I guess I should have reversed that, but I just wanted to make sure that I was available, because things are unpredictable when you have a newborn, and even when I come back to the schedule, I'm not going to be able to do things at the times that we had them before, because I'm going to need to be around more in the evenings for at least the first year, so... there's, or at least the first, I should say at least the first 6 or 8 months. It's hard to say after that, but so like we won't be able to bring the show back to 7 o'clock probably for a while. So it'll be a lot of late streams, and hard to say how long they'll be. So I mean, I keep telling you guys about this, but I keep saying this, but we're gonna have to just keep kind of flying by the seat of our pants with stuff. But I don't know. It's been kind of relaxing. It's been nice not having the regular schedule and being able to just film when I feel like it. And what I feel like filming, and that's kind of freeing.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
But tonight we're gonna do a quick news lead-in topic, and then I've got some other news items for later on in the program, which we'll tackle after the break, assuming that we don't have just a litany of questions and super chats to handle. So the way I'm handling the show right now is kind of based on the last show from a couple weeks ago, the special we did. This is actually going to be in the numbered sequence. We're going to bring this back as often as we can, but I really kind of liked the format we landed on last time. I'm going to try it again, where instead of opening with a long... I am going to do a lead-in topic tonight, but more or less I want to do questions more at the beginning and then do news like after the break. I think that's a really good way to go, but I am going to go ahead and do a real quick one tonight just because I put it in the title, and I don't want folks to have to like sit around for an hour and wait for that to happen. So anyway, we will be answering questions all through the show. We're going to prioritize Patreon until Super Chats come in if we get any of those tonight. So if you want to make sure that your question, topic, concern, complaint, or fascinating epiphany is discussed on air, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount that guarantees that we'll chat about those things for a probably substantial amount of time, given that I'm not very good at the brevity thing. I've already been talking for 6 minutes. I don't even know what the hell I've been saying.
And bonus points if it includes slime.
There's so much slime last night. Did you hear some of that?
Yeah, I listened to the whole superhero one.
Oh,
great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and there was this odd bit of continuity between our streams last night, because then we went into Ninja Turtles 03, and the slime thing just, I guess it makes sense. It's Ninja Turtles. It just wouldn't go away.
It wasn't slime. It was ooze.
It was ooze. So anyway,
I listened to the beginning of that one. I got through the first episode, but haven't listened to the whole thing yet.
Those have been so much fun.
Yeah, I want to join you on one of those at some point. Hopefully, I can find the time.
I hope you can. Yeah. Well, there's like 10 seasons of that or whatever it is. No, what is it, like 8?
7, yeah.
Is it 7? I thought I thought the fast forward thing was 7, and then they did one more season after that. Is that 6 and then
fast forward to 6 and then back to the sewers.
Okay.
Is number 7, which is just as bad.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like a cyborg. It's like a weird like digital computer. We're in the computer like season. It's weird.
Well, we were talking about that last night. They already do a lot of kind of techie stuff and cyberpunk type things.
Yeah, they do a whole season, and they also give them eyeballs for some reason on the last 2 seasons. It's very strange.
Weird.
They change the animation just very slightly and give them eyeballs.
Yeah, because they didn't already have like 9 perfect character models. Let's screw with that. Like,
super weird. But yeah,
well,
I like season 1 through 5. They're great.
If you want to interact with us and you don't feel like supporting us monetarily for whatever reason, we sure understand, and you don't have to do that. You can leave a regular comment and ask questions, and make sure to tag DJ Martinez at DJ Martinez, at Films by Color, or at Upside Down Microphone. DJ will respond to any of those things.
You used that one before, sir. Come on.
Oh, have I really? Oh, man.
No, it's cool. No one remembers.
Man, okay, I guess I should have said a tan t-shirt.
Yeah, a tan Marvel t-shirt, which is completely off screen, but it's got a bunch of Marvel characters on it.
Yeah, it can be hard to get your t-shirts in view.
Yeah, because they can't tell what your shirt says either. Austin thought it said, "It's MODOK."
It's MODOK time. it's MODOK time. It was certainly MODOK time early last year for... I was going to say better or worse, for worse, I think. Anyway, let's go ahead and... God, ugh, I shudder to think that I'll have to watch that movie again at some point.
Still haven't seen it. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed you'll never have to, or that you'll like it more than you think you will, because that's not going to happen.
No,
I just know you.
The former. Definitely the former.
Okay, so I'm going to tackle a quick news item right at the start, and then we'll jump into some Patreon questions, again, unless we get some Super Chats before that. So, hey, DJ, this will probably not shock you, especially if you saw the title or the thumbnail of the video tonight, but this comes from the Hollywood Reporter. New Jurassic World movie in the works with David Koepp writing. Is it Koepp or Koepp? I always thought it was Koepp, but I'm actually not totally sure how you pronounce his last name.
I think you actually have to hit both P's. I think it's Koepp.
I'm going to assume at least one of those P's is silent. Anyway, Universal is said to be moving fast with the script from Koepp, who penned Steven Spielberg's original Jurassic Park and its 1997 sequel. And so, you might think that my interest is more piqued because we've got Koepp back writing, but he's a pretty hit-and-miss writer, and I'm not a big Lost World fan, so just because he's there doesn't necessarily mean it'll be great. I think it's likely to be a little bit more back to basics, probably, than the last couple of just really out there, outlandish, kitchen sink, throw everything at the wall, kind of movies that we had with Jurassic House and Jurassic Plague, respectively. But I'm also less excited about this news. I don't think there's anything left to do with Jurassic Park unless you just went even more crazy and you finally, I've said this a bunch of times before, unless you finally did like Sam Jackson with a robot arm, or you did human dinosaur hybrids. Like, you gotta either go to the nines or just stop making them, I think. And so, like, the best you can hope for is wild, wacky sci-fi farce at this point, as opposed to like mainstream, pseudo horror or suspense film, or really thoughtful, intelligent, science fiction. The best thing to do with Jurassic Park probably is to full on reboot, as much as that might sound like blasphemy, if you have to do anything with it at all, because I think that novel certainly could be And I'm not even saying I want a Jurassic Park reboot. Like, I love that original movie, but it's not like you couldn't improve on adapting that material. But like, you'd have to scale it back. It would have to be more understated. It would have to be a lot more character and idea driven, and that's not what Universal is going to do with that. Those were billion-dollar movies with Jurassic World. But the other thing that makes me, not real stoked about this is just that they're still using apparently the Jurassic World title. And like, so far, like, that's how they've announced it. So apparently this is kind of like sleeper drop news. They've been working on this in the background. Nobody knew about it, and they're working toward a 2025 release. So they're that far along with it apparently. And
wow.
It's kind of sad if it's still got that moniker. I guess, but that also, even if they still call it Jurassic World, given that they are probably not going to bring back, we don't know any of this for sure, but the word on the street is, and according to this article, they're not likely to bring back any characters that have been in this franchise before. So, like, tonally, I would think there would be some kind of a shift. It's not going to be exactly what those last couple of movies were, or even what Jurassic World was. But given that it's probably, because you know how they do these things, DJ. They're gonna immediately go, it's the first of a trilogy. Like, there's no way they just make a movie. They gotta keep these things going. They've been billion. I don't know what Plague did, but it probably wasn't quite a billion. But I think it still did okay. But these things, I'm talking about Dominion for anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about. But this is the order of those films. It's Jurassic World, Jurassic House, Jurassic Plague. When they make another one of these, there's no way it's just like a epilogue kind of movie or like a cool standalone off the beaten path kind of movie. It'll be, the start of another probably epic trilogy, and my worry is they'll in some way make it a soft reboot remake of Jurassic Park again, like somehow.
Yeah, what could you even do? Jurassic Universe.
Yeah, Jurassic Space.
Jurassic Space. That's even better.
I saw an article that suggested that that was like, can we just go all the way? Can we just get crazy with it?
You have to go to the moon to go to the new park.
Well, that's what people wanted
massive.
before we got the announcement for Arkham Knight, where it's like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Planet.
Robert Wild says, I don't think Chris Pratt wants to come back, and he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to because he's voicing every single animated character in the universe.
Yeah, no, he's too busy being animation.
Yeah, seriously. Such a weird world we live in. I don't know why people, like, is this writer coming back like a good thing? Like, he hasn't done anything in the last 20 years except for like the War of the Worlds remake, the last two Indiana Jones films,
yeah, the stuff nobody liked,
Da Vinci Code sequels, the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. Like,
that's what I was gonna say is he's got some okay credits from a long time ago. He penned the first Spider-Man film, but and again he did write the first Jurassic Park movie, but he also you also have to take writer credits with a grain of salt with these kinds of projects. Like, everything, most of the stuff that this guy has worked on has been real high profile, by committee kinds of movies with a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So even if you could read an unadulterated script from him, kind of like, Sam Hamm with Batman '89, which is a pretty great script, you've never seen an unadulterated script from this guy put to film probably, or anything close to unadulterated.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, especially on the big blockbuster movies where there's so many cooks in the kitchen.
And the last thing I want to say about this is Jurassic Park / Jurassic World is such a bizarre kind of franchise because it's one of the most successful, monetarily speaking, one of the biggest, like, high money making franchises of all time, and it's one of the least it's a franchise with some of the least amount of legs. Like, there's not a lot of stuff you can do without just losing credibility and losing the original premise with Jurassic Park. And it's strange because, so I guess what I mean is the word I was looking for is versatile. It's one of the least versatile kinds of ideas there has been, and it worked for this, but not Terminator. It's so strange. Like some of the projects that you get one or two, and then every time it's tried again, they bomb or they don't do all that well. Like Alien has had this, Predator has had this, not Jurassic Park. Every time one comes out, it makes bank every single time. Jurassic Park has never lost money or even broken even.
It's just dinosaurs, man. People
It's
like
just dinosaurs.
Well, that's all it is.
That's a testament.
It's the only dinosaur franchise.
The biggest testament to the fact that it's
franchises.
Yeah, you're right. Not like 65 made any money.
No, that was definitely not a franchise. That was dead before it came out.
That was dead on arrival.
Yeah, there you go.
Adam Driver needs to figure out how to pick high-profile projects. Like he's been, I haven't seen them, but he's apparently been in some good, more art housey type stuff. But like he goes to the wrong things when it comes to big blockbuster kinds of movies.
Yeah, he's made some good movies, but
65 was a TV movie put in the theater. And I liked it better than some people did. Jason loves that movie. I don't know why. But like when all you've really got to compete against is stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like and the biggest testament to the fact that Jurassic Park's success is just it's the only dinosaur franchise is that the last one wasn't even really about dinosaurs.
Jurassic mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Was it locusts? I don't know.
I think it was locusts. It's got that one cool scene with a motorcycle chase with raptors, and like that's about it. Like that doesn't have a lot to do with dinosaurs. But it's got Jurassic in the title, so people went and saw it. You can't do that again. But like even though that movie was not like I don't think like real critically liked, although it still was better liked than I would have thought it was, I still don't think the next one tanks. I think they can put out anything and it will still at least double its money.
Yeah, seriously, man. I heard not one good thing about that last one, and it's still. I just looked it up. Did cross $1 billion.
I was going to ask you, did you like? Was it still $1 billion? Even if that movie makes $800 million, that's ridiculous.
I don't get it. I heard it was boring as sin.
That is Hollywood. Did you see it?
No, but why did word of mouth kill that thing if it was so boring?
Because it's got dinosaurs in it.
Or at least in the poster.
That is,
maybe not in the movie.
Yeah, a couple times in the trailer. That is Hollywood's most rigged roulette wheel.
Dinosaurs, man.
Put it on red, put it on black, put it on even, put it on odd. It doesn't matter. You're always doubling your money when you play on the Jurassic World roulette wheel.
Boys love dinosaurs. Girls love dinosaurs. Elderly love dinosaurs. Everybody.
Yeah, well, like with Jurassic World, it was the nostalgia for adults for that original movie, plus kids love dinosaurs. When you get far enough away from that, I want to think that when middle-aged to older people don't care anymore and stop going, it affects that franchise. I'm telling you, it doesn't, man. That roulette wheel will always double your money. Go to that casino and put it all on any color you want. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's go to the questions, shall we?
Let's do that.
Let's start with a couple of Patreon things.
Sure.
And feel free to ask questions about this topic or anything else you want to. And again, I'll cover a little bit more news when we come back from the break here in about 40 minutes.
Well, this first one is about the topic related. Michael Austin Gulk, any plans for a commentary on Jurassic House?
Oh, wow. And that was a Patreon question?
That was.
What a segue. Usually I look at the Patreon questions ahead of time, and I almost forgot to send them to you, so I don't even know what the Patreon questions are this time.
Yeah, I don't know if this was even related. Oh, yeah, it was just 1 hour ago, so it might have been. He might have heard the news.
He heard the news today. Oh, boy. Yeah, I would like to do a commentary on Jurassic House for the 5 people that feel at all the way I do about that movie. Because I know I don't have a popular opinion. Because that is a terrible movie, and I love it. It's like it's one of my biggest. You know what? We were talking about guilty pleasures on the last show. Jurassic House did not come up. That's my obligatory answer. That should have come up. That's my biggest. That's my biggest one of those guilty pleasure movies.
It's true. That's very true. Oh,
But yeah, so I
right.
would like to do that at some point. Austin and I started Austin and I do this with a lot of things. We've probably started a series on like 20 different things that we've never finished. And we did Jurassic Park at one point and had planned to go through the rest of them eventually. But we've got to finish Pirates of the Caribbean. We've got to finish Terminator. Like we have a few franchises that we've done one or more films on that we want to get back to that we haven't yet. And Jurassic Park is certainly one of those. But it hasn't been as big of a priority because it's not as big of a franchise, I don't think, for Austin as it is for me. And Plague kind of pissed me off because it wasn't even fun bad for me. Like, that's not the same thing as Jurassic House. So I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying it wasn't even house bad.
No, it wasn't.
That's no fun.
It was just, it was bad.
There wasn't a super secret evil auction in a mansion.
Yeah, see, that was awesome. That movie, it's a glorified B movie, and I love it. And
the Looney Tunes interaction between the hunter and the dinosaur.
Yeah, well, what's fun about it is it takes itself so seriously, and usually I hate that. That drives me. I want like a little bit of self-awareness if you're gonna be that over the top and just be really stupid. But somehow it transcends it for me, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me on this, but it transcends it to me where it's kind of fun because it has no idea how stupid it is.
The pillow scene. The super dramatic pillow scene is so good.
They're alive, like me.
Oh god. Well, yeah, we were laughing.
Okay, maybe I want you on that commentary, DJ.
Well, my wife and I were laughing in the theater, and nobody else was.
No, I had the same thing. Eric and I were cracking up in the theater. Yeah.
It's like, what is happening? Why is everybody taking this seriously?
Yeah,
it was very strange.
People were sucked in, man. I was laughing from the title.
I haven't seen it since the theater, and it's still sticking with me, so that's got to say something.
Yeah, that says something. See, I didn't know you were anywhere in line with me on that. That movie's hilarious. When you get the credits, when you get the title at the beginning with the lava that's going over the words, and the score is just like insanely bombastic, I was laughing at that.
It's very strange, though, because the opening scene is like a pretty cool scene by itself and doesn't give you any indication that it's going to be like a farcical, almost parody the whole time. It's just like a cool scene with the water dino.
It's already a little crazy, though.
I mean, it's crazy, but it's just picking up where the last movie left off.
Maybe so. That's fair.
Like mutated dinosaur.
Okay, let's do another Patreon question, shall we? Thanks for joining us tonight, guys, late at night. And again, apologies that it's going to have to be late like this for the foreseeable future. But you can always watch them after the fact. Thanks for being here. And a quick plug for Patreon, if you can't make a late show like this regularly, so I'm saying this for people that are watching now and people that might watch later, you can get in a question just like these 9 people did that will be answered on the program that I'll prioritize at least sometime during the month. I usually put that out for the whole month, and then we get to them when we can. But you can make sure that at least once a month the question is answered by joining Patreon at just the $2 tier, patreon.com/geekvolution. Okay, my commercial is over, and it's now time for another question from the source of said commercial.
All right. Well, good old Justin Hayes gives us a very another serious question here.
That's Bag Studios.
There he is. Yes.
He only asks really serious questions.
Very serious. Let's pay attention.
That he thinks are serious, but we can't take seriously. He's basically the embodiment of Jurassic House.
Exactly, in Jurassic House in human form.
Right. Yes. And I have always said that about him.
Yeah, he took up on flesh, and he's dwelling among us to give us these great questions. Justin Hayes, there are 30 cows in a field and 28 chickens. How many didn't?
How many didn't?
So is that like a math problem?
5. How many didn't what? How many didn't?
Well, how many didn't eat chickens?
Okay, I'm sorry. Read it again. Because usually he has a formula with his questions. Usually it's there's this thing and then there's this thing. Now here's an unrelated question, and that's what I thought it was doing.
Well, it kind of is.
Okay.
There are 30 cows in a field and 28 chickens. How many didn't?
How many didn't? What? How many chickens? How many cows? That's great. That's great, Bag. That's really good.
Thank you, Bag. Thank you, Bag.
That was fun. That was fun. I think the answer is not enough information.
Yes. Please follow up in the regular chat.
Multiple levels.
Yeah. Yeah, and include raptors in this one if you could.
Well, that was a way to waste 3 minutes. Go ahead.
SS Jerry. Did you and Vince like Watchmen 2? That video was gold, sir. Hope you remember the one.
Watchmen 2. I vaguely remember a GNN. So was that like a April
been a
Fool's Day
future
thing where we
one or
pretended
something.
like Watchmen 2 was a thing? Did we pretend like it was coming out and we were talking about an announcement, or did we pretend like we'd seen it? I don't remember. I mean, we're talking probably 14 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. That wasn't a part of the one where you like pretended to go to the future and see all the superhero movies from the future, right? That was after Vince, I think.
Oh, yeah. That was after, yeah. So I vaguely remember making a video like that, but I don't remember what exactly the contents was. The contents were. Contents were. Yes.
Now we
That's correct
kind of
English.
got a Watchmen 2 with the series, which is interesting.
I thought you were going to say we kind of got a Watchmen 2 with the Justice League Snyder cut.
Oh, no. Oh man, that's Justice. That's Watchmen 2, 3, and 4.
Or BVS is more like Watchmen 2, right? Or like Watchmen rehashed in Superman form.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean they basically well they keep going back to talking heads in the news like Watchmen does, and they're like they basically just redo the God is among us and he's American. Like they pretty much just do that again.
Yeah. I wish they would have had Lois release Batman's diary at the end of that one. It's just him like brooding to
Batman's
himself
journal.
about his feelings. That would have been good.
That's true. Batman is basically Rorschach. If Rorschach compromised because he and Veidt had the same mom's first name, that's
No, Veidt's a pet like Panther has the same name as Rorschach's. I don't know. What kind of pet would Rorschach have? Like a rat? I could see him having a little rat.
I would think he'd have a dog because the brutalized dog thing really bothers him.
Oh.
Or maybe he wouldn't have
Maybe
a
he
dog
couldn't
for that
have a
reason.
dog
I don't know. But I thought you were going to say his mother's name is Boobastis.
Boobastis! Why did you say that name? They're gonna kill Boobastis!
They're going to kill Boobastis!
Okay, we need to bring back the t-shirts. Just for this one.
That should be a meme. And a t-shirt. Boobastis! Why did you say that name?
Well, that was worth it just for that. Thank you, SS Jerry, for bringing up that one from the
Adrian,
past.
the Reds are polluting the lake. Why'd you say that name?
People in the chat are like, there's such a lag that people are making the joke because they haven't heard us make it yet.
Yeah, we must have like a 45-second lag then.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along.
All right, this is from Brennan Barrett.
Yeah.
Switch 2 speculation has.
So this is I did glance at this when I sent DJ the message because I had to make sure and pop it open. So strap in. This is a long one.
This is quite long, and I've almost got all of it. Even fully open, I can't get the end of it. Hopefully, we'll get the gist.
Okay, I will fill in for you.
Okay.
I'll pull it up. Go ahead.
Your Switch 2 speculation cast has had.
Can we keep them to like 500 words, maybe?
Yeah, give him
I'm kidding.
a word cap.
Go
Your Switch 2 speculation cast has had me thinking about the decline of supposed decline of physical media, as you speculated on whether the next Switch might offer a digital-only edition like other consoles have been doing. In general, it seems like physical media in video games and movie sales are declining, but other entertainment mediums like physical books are still outselling ebooks and audiobooks.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
For another example, in 2022, vinyl record sales made $1.2 billion in revenue. Why do you think some physical media is still holding strong, or even having a resurgence, as in the case of vinyl, and why are others waning? Is all media crawling its way to digital only, or is this type of flip-flopping? That's where...
In media consumption, something you think will continue. Will we see anything like the vinyl resurgence with films or video games? Austin, sorry, I do so many videos with Austin. DJ, why don't you field this first? Because I've been talking a lot, and because you and I are both collectors, and you have a collecting channel, and I know you have a big dog in this. Given that movies are, physical media is waning, at least in brick and mortar, real hard, into this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you start a discussion with this?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. This is something we talk about on my channel quite a bit. And I think he says supposed decline, and I think it is more of a supposed decline because it is mostly just like you said, brick and mortar in stores. Best Buy's not selling physical media anymore, and Target and Walmart. Target doesn't have anything. Walmart's making a resurgence, which is super weird. They're starting to put out exclusive steelbooks for only at Walmart, which is amazing. Maybe Walmart's going to swoop in and take all of Best Buy's customers. But it is still booming on the internet. Like there's a new boutique label every week that I find out about. Like it's become a collector's market, which I think is very similar to vinyl. I think that's more geared towards collectors as well, and people who are nostalgic for that kind of format, whereas just standard DVDs and CDs are just more for like the masses, and the masses don't really care about physical anymore. So I don't think it's going to go away, and I don't even think it's like waning. I think it's just shifting the audience and shifting. It's just got to be a little bit more strategic. It does suck though. You have to buy things online because there's always the fear that things are going to get damaged in shipping, and you can't really get a good look at it before it gets to you. But all of that is kind of, I don't know. Video games are an outlier. I feel like, I don't know. Video games are a little bit different than movies and music, I think.
That whole thing is a massive conspiracy by the console making companies and the AAA
Yeah, they're more disposable.
companies themselves because it's just so much cheaper to get the product out there that way, and to control and manipulate the way people play and buy games. Like, it's so much easier to make you keep getting the next console and keep getting the next game, but also rebuying games if you don't physically own the thing, and you're likely to not be able to play it later on. And so with everything else, like, and I think there are several really good reasons that video games are an outlier with that, DJ. First of all, the file sizes are so huge. Like, that immediately changes the game versus music and books and movies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But also, as soon as any other, tell me if I'm wrong about this, as soon as any other media comes out, with the occasional exception of like a George Lucas or a Zack Snyder or somebody that wants to keep changing their movies or adding to them or something, as soon as that piece is out, it's done and can't be changed, whether you like physically own it or not. And video games haven't been that way for a very long time. Like, we keep adding DLC or having to patch things, or make like significant changes to the product after it has been released, and so it's just so much easier to and it's kind of crazy that it didn't happen faster to get the main audience for video games to get used to not having they're not owning their games and not having them physically.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that is happening more and more with movies lately. I mean, Disney is changing a lot of stuff on Disney Plus. There was that huge thing last year with The French Connection, where they took out, they edited a scene with the racial slur done by Gene Hackman that kind of changes a little bit of what his character is like in that film. And people were really upset about that, not because of the content itself, but because they're just changing movies.
Well, and I was kind of making a joke when I said that, with the rare exception where we do that kind of thing, we do new editions, and streaming will try to manipulate that to try to keep things politically correct and all of that. But my point is, if you get a movie, whether it's digital or physical, and I guess for sure physical, it's 100% there on the disc in a way that video games aren't anymore. You know what I mean? So even if there's like another version of it later or whatever, so it's just immediately more collectible. once you get past the days with video games where it was always all on a disc or on a cartridge and was never online,
Yeah, that's true.
where you never had to download anything. And I think that has a lot to do with it. You said with movies that we have this kind of perceived idea that physical media is dying, and I agree with that. I think with like mainstream what's the word I'm looking for? With
Blockbusters.
with mainstream like I don't know, movie companies,
Yeah, movie studios. Yeah,
studios, you have I don't know. It's getting late. I can't think of words.
they're trying to do what video games are doing. They're trying to make them more disposable.
That's what I was gonna say. Is yeah, and they're not going to offer as much of the really cool incentives that make you want to have the thing physically, that make it really collectible, that you're getting in the vinyl record space. And I've gotten huge into vinyl over the last couple months. I've mentioned this before, but I made that the big kind of family present this year for my family, and I went kind of nuts. I went kind of hog wild building our vinyl record collection, and I had some already, but I'm trying to build a collection so that all the albums that we listen to a lot we have in that way. And I've done it for a few different reasons. Like, it was really weird all these years not ever buying music, not collecting it, not having anything physically, because I am a collector and I do like to do that kind of thing, but it was difficult to justify because I pay for Spotify and I have all of that in one place. But the ways in which you're limited by listening more to a collection is actually kind of refreshing to me, because it makes me like appreciate what I'm listening to and pay more attention to it than just kind of sampling things all the time. And it would mess with my memory where when I've got everything at my fingertips and access to nearly anything that ever came out, all of a sudden it's hard to get excited about it and hard to think of things to play. And when I go to a wall of 50 records, I'm like, ooh, which of these do I want to look at? And I don't know, it changes your mentality. It makes you appreciate the medium more. And I think it does that for really anything, movies and video games and books and everything. But the other reason that I've gotten more into collecting vinyl lately than even, and some of it's just I'm on a kick, right? But part of the reason I'm doing more of that now than I've even really been buying like movies and comics lately is because they're almost always just really cool looking. Like, there's a lot of effort much of the time in a way that you don't have as much with CDs, in giving you a lot of bang for your buck, because records aren't cheap, right? So like, bottom dollar, usually records are like $20, and they tend to be more of upwards of 27, 30 and into 40 and 50 when you get into double discs and special editions and things. And you've always got really cool like artwork and gatefolds and just extra material that kind of makes it worth your while. So I guess the point I'm making is, movies, I think, are going to have to move more into that realm, where I think you're going to get to a place where collectors aren't going to settle for the simple, bare bones thing that doesn't have much in the way of special features, doesn't really have a cool box, is just kind of whatever the movie poster was. And when they can just go stream that, like rent it or watch it on a streaming service, I think we're going to get to a point, DJ, kind of like with vinyl records, where everything is a steelbook or some other kind of like cool looking release. And that's kind of, I hope that's where we're going, because that's what I like about records, is they all feel special to me.
That's and that's what started happening recently. We've got these releases that I did a video on recently on my channel from Universal called the Universal Essentials Collection. They just did this Jurassic Park.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Nice deluxe slipcase. It's got the case. It's got a bunch of art cards. It's got a booklet. It looks just like an Arrow video release, like one of their limited edition slip covers. So I got this one. I got the Big Lebowski, and then my brother just got me the It Came from Outer Space one for my birthday. So that's what Universal's doing. I'm really liking what they're putting out. Hopefully the other studios like step up and start doing those same releases, because they look just like boutique releases.
And like you said, I agree with everything you said about this. It's kind of sad when brick and mortar is folding with this stuff and you have to order it online, but that's not going to kill it.
Yeah.
And I think honestly it's going to make a lot of that stuff. Two ideas with this. First of all, because you can't just go to a store and land on something cool and buy it, and you've got a lot of competition online, I think it makes everybody step up. So I'm not saying I want to see it go away from brick and mortar, because I don't, and I know I'm going to miss things. And the biggest problem with having it all online is that, like, pre-order day one problem and scalping, where if they don't make enough of them and you didn't find out about it, you might be kind of screwed. And that does happen with a lot of the vinyl that I'm interested in, because I want some, like, video game soundtracks and things. And some of that stuff, like, DJ, did I tell you about the Knights release that's happening?
Oh, no.
So as a lot of you guys know, I'm obsessed with the old Sega Saturn game Nights into Dreams, and they are putting out a big double disc purple vinyl release for the soundtrack that I've pre-ordered it. It comes out in March. It's a UK import. They're only releasing it there. And they pulled out all the stops with it, DJ. I'll have to send you a picture of it. Like, the cover is really pretty, and it's glow in the dark.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like, they went to the nines with it. It's really cool. But I bring that up to say, if I hadn't thought one day to just go, hey, I wonder if somehow somebody ever put that on a vinyl. I'm sure that doesn't exist. I Googled it, and it's coming out in a couple months. If I had done that, like, 3 or 4 months later, I probably wouldn't get one.
Yeah.
You know, like, I probably, if I hadn't somehow found out about it, I probably wouldn't get one. So that's the big drawback with that. What I wonder is if it isn't, and this won't happen with video games, but I wonder if with movies in particular, it might be possible that 10, 15 years down the road, it might take that long, you might start to see what you have with vinyl record stores, where we start getting video stores again.
That could be cool.
Popping up, like independent mom and pop places that like buy all the boutique things and put them in a brick and mortar. I think that's plausible.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
What's actually more plausible is that the vinyl record stores will just add a section for that. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah,
that's probably more what
and
you'll see.
Here, we don't have any just plain vinyl record stores. All of our vinyl, like, music stores are just mixed media stores that also have movies and video games and stuff.
I only know of one here, and it's a really big store that actually has movies, or that has very many movies. Most of them here, and I'm in kind of a, you know, something of a music area.
Yeah, maybe so.
Because I'm in Kansas City, and, you know, we have jazz history and all of that at the Blue Room downtown. So there's a lot of vinyl record stores downtown, and they're mostly just vinyl.
That's awesome.
It is. But I'm thinking you might start seeing more stores specifically for that, or you start seeing them, like I said, show up in record stores or even comic shops, places like that.
Yeah, Dallas has a really cool, like, when I was in Dallas for work a few months ago, they had this store called Movie Theater Company, and it's like the size of, like, that Second and Charles store that you went to when we were here, but it's just movies. Like, it was huge. It was, like, enormous, and it was all movies. And they had, like, it's like a chain. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and, like, really close to Dallas. I was really surprised. I wanted to go to all of them, but I didn't have time. But it was pretty cool.
The question of why this is happening differently with different physical media, I think we should address real quick before we move on. And because I have a couple theories about that. The vinyl record thing has been a little bit baffling, and there's not anything else comparable to this in the history of physical media, where you have, I don't think, where you have a format that gets almost completely phased out, that no one is buying for like a decade or two, and then it comes back and becomes the main physical format again. That's crazy. That's unheard of. And where you have stores that sell just that, or mostly just that. That's wild. So why is that happening with vinyl records and it's not happening with anything else? A lot of it is, I gotta choose my words wisely, because it's the perception of a thing that I think continues to be highly debated, which is how much better the quality of sound is when you're listening to a record versus listening to a CD or digital media, or streaming digital media. Because one thing you have to keep in mind, and part of the reason this debate rages, is because even on vinyl records, anything imprinted now onto a vinyl record, or most things, were recorded in a digital format in the first place, which begs the question, how much better can it really sound if you're playing it through an analog format, but it started in a digital format? So I have a really nice record player now, and I did a side-by-side comparison for a number of records I bought of tracks that, albums with tracks that I'm intimately familiar with. And even with stuff that was originally recorded digitally, because keep in mind, it's not compressed in record form, I don't know if it's better, but it is different. And I think it's kind of a matter of taste, right? So if you like a kind of bigger, fuller sound, and I definitely do, there is a noticeable difference. I love what Evanescence sounds like on a vinyl record versus on Spotify. There is a difference. I put them right up against each other, and that perceived or otherwise difference is just not there when it comes to movies. And I've heard people, and I'm sure there's truth to it, say that 4K things look better on disc, and you don't have to worry as much about compression or artifacting possibly happening and that kind of thing. But I think by and large, people either haven't noticed or haven't gotten the memo on that the way they did with vinyl.
Yeah, well, even the fact that there is a debate about vinyl is telling, because there's no debate. It's the only one the only piece of technology that didn't just keep getting better. There's no debate between VHS and 4K, whereas vinyl is still popular because it's still, if not better, at least there's a debate about whether it is better. So that's what's really cool about that. That's why I think that one stands out as different.
And I think that's why a lot of people want to not just collect, but listen to vinyl, as opposed to not really caring as much what the format is with movies. I think a lot of movie collectors don't buy it because they're stingy about what it looks like versus streaming or versus digital, but just they want to physically have it. But to a lot of people, it is the same product. With music, for a lot of people, it's not the same product. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And books are that way too, to some degree, where it's
different experience.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not the same product. It's not the exact same product if you're reading a thing on your phone or on a tablet than opening it up and looking at it in a book. And comics are the same way. But it is interesting if physical books are outselling.
Yeah, that's got to be why physical books are still so popular, because it's a different experience, a much different experience than a tablet, whereas movies are close to the same.
Well, I think some people have just realized that they don't like that experience, and they can't read as long, or it hurts their head, or it affects. There's a lot of studies on this. It tends to affect retention. People tend to remember what they read better when it's on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. I got my wife her first Kindle this year, and they make a Kindle. It's called a Kindle Sheet or a Kindle Paper. I don't know what it's called, but it doesn't have any lighting on it. It just looks like paper. It's pretty cool. She's been loving it. She's been
fascinating.
She's started reading a ton this year again. She's gotten back into reading a bunch.
That's cool.
So that's the best gift I ever got her. But yeah, no, I could talk about physical media all day, but we should probably.
I'm sorry. That was a hefty one. Let's try to hit. I kind of just want to keep talking about that. Let's.
We got to do a video about that at some point. But I think we just did.
No, we did. Anyway, okay. I guess we'll move on. We've got 10 more minutes before the break. Let's try to hit a couple more if we can. Go ahead, DJ. Thanks, man. Thanks for keeping us on track. I was ready to keep going on that. Go ahead.
I was having fun. Yeah. Hayden Spring, who is your favorite character from something you immensely dislike? immensely dislike. You can't just be
something you
indifferent
really,
to
really
it.
don't like. Well, the first place my brain goes to is, I guess, Ragnarok.
Oh, do you have a favorite character in there though?
I mean, like the way Hela was handled is fine.
Oh yeah, because she's just Rita Repulsa.
Like, she's not bad. Zaradan. Real Warzog, sorry for such a long question. Thank you for answering. Oh, he's here. Cool.
Oh, awesome.
And
No, it was great. Great question.
It's kind of understandable why that was as long as it was. I'm trying to think of a better answer than that. We're gonna. I haven't announced this because we've been doing the pseudo hiatus thing, and I've just been kind of showing up for things and not telling you guys what we're doing ahead of time. But I will go ahead and mention that if all goes according to plan, tomorrow night, Connor and Jason and I are planning on reviewing the first part of Rebel Moon, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself with that, and this will, I guess, reveal my sign flip, but I almost want to give an answer from that.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not gonna, because we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
I personally do remember when we did our commentary of Cats, you being very, very into the character of Bustopher Jones.
Oh, really? I don't even remember that.
Just making up stuff. I don't know.
We did that for... I was going to say, that doesn't sound real, but...
No, it is a real character from it, but I don't think you like it.
Oh, is it? Okay. I don't remember
characters.
much of anything about that movie.
Bustopher Jones.
What
a movie.
We did a blank commentary on that for... it was a lot of, now that I've seen that, I can't unsee it. But we did that for Patreon.
I'm trying to think of a superhero one. Like, I mean, you like... well, I guess you don't like the character, though. I was going to say you like Jennifer Garner, but Elektra's terrible, but I guess that character's not great either.
And I liked her okay back in the day anyway, in that first movie. And she's kind of reinvented and not as cool in the second one. But she's never actually Elektra, certainly.
I'm trying to think of a superhero one. There's
got to be a really good answer to this.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. Is there anyone you liked in that? I mean, that's where we got Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth.
Yeah, Sabretooth. Sure. Yeah.
He's the best thing about that movie.
No, that's a good answer. Oh, you know what? If we want to stay on superhero, I've got one. I made a big deal out of how impressed I was with the casting of Storm in Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. And that's a dumpster fire of a film.
Yeah, but she's great. She doesn't get anything to do.
Yeah, the only good Storm in an X-Men film is in Apocalypse.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess she's in Dark Phoenix, but if you blinked, you'd miss her. She is... her enthusiasm for being in that project is infectious. Like, you can just tell how excited she is to be there, and I feel like that comes out to some degree on screen. And I just think she, like, I'm just being superficial, but she looks great in that part. Like, she really pulled off the Mohawk thing.
Yeah, she looks awesome. And of course, the best thing about BVS is, and the best Lex Luthor ever put on screen.
and of course, my favorite Doomsday of all time.
Yeah, there you go. Abomination Doomsday.
No, there's not really anybody I could go, yeah, that was good. Well, except for maybe Alfred, I guess. And like their Batman was good casting. But as far as just because I kind of wanted to think of a project with like an original character where you're like, I can't believe they invented this guy or this woman. But the movie was terrible, but this character was super cool. I know I've got a good answer or some kind of good response to that, and it's not coming to me. I mean, like, I enjoy, and I go to these too often, I enjoy Matrix Reloaded more than most people, so this isn't a great answer because he said something you
didn't immensely dislike
yeah, I was going to say detest. I guess he didn't say detest. But I mean, like, that's got the Merovingian, and he's awesome, but that's not a good movie.
Yeah. People I'll read some of the ones in the chat from the people. Austin says he liked Huntress and Birds of Prey.
Oh yeah, that's a great answer.
A couple of people mentioning Spider-Man: Homecoming. AMC Comics said Vulture, and then Cinematographics said Michelle Jones.
Okay, but I like Homecoming.
Yeah, I like
people had this with Boomerang in the first Suicide Squad.
Oh. Robert Wild said, I thought you would say the Clone Girl from Jurassic House.
No, she's one of my least favorite characters. Well, especially by Plague, she's awful. Ugh. She's just weird in House.
But she's alive.
Like me. Okay, let's do one more before the break.
All
That
right.
that was a killer question, by the way. That's like
This
comment of the stream kind of material there. That was a really good. I don't think we've ever had that. That was a really good question.
Yeah, that was a tough one. And we could have said Loki and Dark World, but Jeff
Yeah.
Niederhofer says
You
this
you
kind of
you do it just like I do. When I read the names at the end of Rewind videos, I say it exactly like Jeff Niederhofer. Like I can't help but say it
it's
like
so
that.
satisfying to say.
It is. It's
And
such
this
a good
kinda
last
goes
name.
hand in hand with the last one. What is the worst superhero film portrayal of all time?
Sorry, I'm gonna go back for a second because
I know what Austin's answer
even
is.
though it's a TV show, I was sitting here trying to come up with a character from Picard like this, and I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Read the question one more time.
The worst superhero film portrayal. So we're talking about actors that are not.
Okay, so not worst adaptation, but worst actor playing a superhero.
That's how I took it. He says superhero film portrayal. That's usually a word you use for
an actor playing a character. So we're talking about the
and that's
lead,
more interesting than just the worst superhero movie.
Yeah, so the lead superhero. So the
or just superhero in general. It doesn't have to be the lead.
Okay, sure, because it could be a team movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it would be a lead, but that's an ensemble cast at that point.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about that, then one thing I would want to because Austin brought up Birds of Prey, so I would throw out the opposite of what he said with that with Huntress and say Cassandra Cain in that movie.
But was she a superhero? She's just a girl with a cast.
Well, okay, fair enough. The obvious answers here would include things like Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Yeah. Austin would say he thinks that Gal Gadot is the worst superhero portrayal of all time. I would say that Jennifer Lawrence, specifically in Dark Phoenix, is absolutely horrendous.
Oh boy, which sucks because I like her fighting in Days of Future Past.
She's great in First Class.
I think so too.
And then she just doesn't care anymore.
Or at least I think she's decent. Honestly, this is maybe not fair. I think the later portrayals maybe hurt her a little bit for me in the earlier movies now, going back to them.
Oh, maybe I haven't gone back.
Maybe a little bit.
I think Chris Hemsworth in Ragnarok is one of my and Hulk and Ruffalo in Ragnarok are two of my least favorite portrayals of all time. And they've both and I like Chris Hemsworth in other portrayals of the character.
This should be a top 10 or top 20 list on a Rewind Unscripted, I think.
Yeah.
Austin, jot this one down for me, will you? Because we've been thinking about more of these discussion topics. When we get finished with the history videos, we're going to launch into another multi-part series, and we want to just keep doing those because they've been really fun, and we've got a lot of cool topics for them. So this would be a really good one for that. One big one for me at this point is Black Adam.
Oh, interesting.
Because I just think he's awful. I mean he's trying, but it's not good.
Oh, is he trying or is he just being himself? I haven't seen it, but I don't know.
I think he thinks he's trying. I don't know. Flash.
Bag says almost everyone in Aquaman 2.
And I haven't seen it yet. I usually get those out in the first couple weeks, but A, we had a baby born that week, and B, not one person asked about it. So it's just been hard to even remember to go see it, DJ. But we will do it. We will do a discussion on that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of bummed at the reception of that one because I was hoping it was going to be another goofy, over the top, insane, fun time at the theater like the first one was, but it doesn't sound like it. So I'm not
saying
really
that is not the case. Yeah, I guess I'll find out for myself. Man, there's a lot more things we could throw out with this, but I'm going to save that for an eventual video on it. I think that would be a really good one. Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and take a 4-minute break, and then we'll be right back with part 2 of tonight's Captain Logan show, and I'll throw some more news at you. Give us some more questions there in the comments, and we will finish up Patreon if we can. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. Oh, I gotta unmute myself. Hello, folks. We are back for part 2 of tonight's Captain Logan show, and Michael Keaton as Batman has taken over for DJ. And that means we're not gonna get any questions because he is made of cardboard.
Well, he's a little shy. He's the strong, silent type. So I'll put him over here for now.
You know what he's from? He's from a franchise. Franchise.
You can sit over here, Mr. Keaton.
Yeah, DJ found that recently while he was antiquing and sent me a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh boy, DJ, can you grab me that?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So now it's at his house until I can get there.
Yeah, we gotta find some way to get him to you. Maybe we'll do a road trip and bring him along or something. But
yeah,
no, that was great.
We've been talking about getting together this year.
Super good deal. They actually gave me a discount because on my whole order, because they were so excited to get rid of him because he's been upstairs forever, and he scares the crap out of them when they go upstairs to like close up shop. So they're like, "Thank you."
I can't believe they hadn't sold that. I can't be the only person that goes after cardboard standees, but you know it's a little bittersweet because we got water in the basement again today, and
no.
it actually messed up a couple of my standees.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
You're
to.
gonna have to put them up on stand, like
Yeah,
plastic crates or something.
I'll be able to salvage them, but this is like the 4th time Worf's gotten water on him, and I'm like, God bless it, like,
Come on, Worf.
really irks me. Water got to a place in the basement it doesn't usually go when we get hit here, and what sucked about it was I didn't even notice it had been raining.
Oh wow.
So I come down here and there's this stream of
here.
water all the way across the basement, and I'm like, when did it start raining? When did that happen? I've been inside all day, and I didn't even realize that it was raining.
I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but thanks for grabbing that for me, man.
Oh yeah,
I'll make sure and get him on top of plastic right away. Like I've got an Adam West. Part of the reason I wanted him was to put him next to my Adam West, but the Adam West got water damage on him a couple of years ago, and he doesn't stand up by himself anymore. You have to lean him up against something and hope that nobody sees his feet. So I've got him because
feet.
That doesn't look Adam. Right. So
yeah, you that's the one part you don't want to get wet on a thing that is hard to stand up anyway on flimsy.
He looks like he was in misery and he got hobbled at the knees.
Oh gosh, there's the fan film I want to see. Adam West in the bed.
Adam West versus special guest villain Kathy Bates. It's so good.
That'd be pretty terrifying.
Well, DJ, let's go ahead and look at a little bit more news here. I'll just do these kind of rapid fire. So Austin alluded to this last night. I'm actually talking about Austin now. I didn't make a mistake there. Last night, Austin alluded to this when we were doing our second part of our watch party for 03 Ninja Turtles. The first week, we had been speculating about the future of IDW Ninja Turtles because they were canceling the main series at 150, and then the very next day we got this news, which I hadn't had a chance to weigh in on yet, which is, and this comes from IGN, which is that Jason Aaron is taking over the book for a relaunch, and he's got 4 new artists with him that, as far as I can tell, I'm not sure exactly how this is going. I think maybe what they're doing is like 4 micro series, with a different turtle, like Mirage did and like IDW did at the beginning. But I can't tell for sure if that's what we're doing, because we're getting a new #1. But then when you scroll down with this article, you see like Ninja Turtles #1 and Raphael. Maybe these are just variant covers. That must be what we're doing here. No. It is. Sorry, I hadn't looked at this real close. Okay, so Raphael gets the #1 cover, Michelangelo gets the #2 cover, etc. I see. Okay. But anyway, so these are done by some veteran comic artists, but a couple that I'm familiar with, a couple I'm not. So this is Joel Jones and Raphael Albuquerque. Kind of ironic that a guy named Raphael is doing the Michelangelo cover, but okay.
Yeah, how did they mess that up?
And then Cliff Chang got Leonardo, which is my favorite of these 4. His Leonardo face is so classic. Like, this makes me want Cliff Chang to do the interiors for the whole book. Like, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's got like a more terrapin snout. It's like more pointy.
Yeah. And that's very like old school Mirage. And then you've got Chris Burnham, who I haven't seen do anything in a long time.
I like that Donatello. He looks real scrappy.
Yeah, real scrappy. So I love these. They all look really good. And the Joel Jones one is real close to what the early IDW stuff looks like, and it's a little bit Santaluco-esque. But anyway, very smart the way they're relaunching this, I think. It's bittersweet to me. It's kind of sad to see the numbering starting over. I'm just glad that, we're not full-on rebooting, because the IDW series is my favorite iteration of Ninja Turtles now, and the history of that, the lore of that is so rich. and interesting, and there's plenty more potentially that they can do with it. But B, it got really boring after Tom Waltz left, and it's time for some new blood. It's been time for new blood. I got sick enough of it. I got bored enough of it after like 112, 113, that I kicked out and haven't gone back to it. Maybe it gets better somewhere. I don't know. Too much of the focus was on Janika, who IDW pushed really hard. That's the girl that becomes she's a human character that's in the supporting cast for a while and then gets transformed into a Ninja Turtle. And she kind of takes over the book too much, I think. It's not enough about the original 4. If they could have integrated her better, I might have been fine with it, but I also just never warmed up to her the way that I think that team was hoping that we would. And I couldn't get excited about the status quo, where they were living in like kind of a tenement setting with a bunch of other mutates, and it was kind of soap opera-ish and just a little dull. And again, maybe it gets exciting somewhere, but what I was reading was reminding me too much of the really kind of dull aftermath stuff in Power Rangers Beyond the Grid, the stuff right after Shattered Grid. And I just couldn't get into it. So I'm glad they're relaunching like this and kind of going back to basics for Ninja Turtles and making it, focused on the, what do you call them, the Ninja Turtles. And Jason Aaron is a smart way to go, because it'll get a lot of eyes on that maybe have never even looked at that book, because you put his name on anything, and because he's got such a good track record. And I don't mean to say that everything he writes is gold, but he's just a name that people know now, and he's consistent and credible, and it'll be the kind of street cred that they need to get people interested in that book again. My worry was that it was gonna be all Last Ronin all the time from now on, and it's really cool that they're not shafting their main continuity, and that they're putting so much love back on that. Even while they're probably going to continue putting out Last Ronin stuff, because that's been really popular. So it's also smart of IDW, now that I'm thinking about it, to double down on Ninja Turtles in that way, with 2 different kind of beloved continuities now, because they've been losing a lot of IP lately, and they really need Ninja Turtles to sell well. So that's very smart of them. Anyway, I said rapid fire. I had a lot to say about that. Sorry. Go ahead, DJ.
No, I don't have anything to say. I haven't read in a long time, but I would like to get caught up at some point. I just don't know if I can.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of it. It's a commitment, but it's worth doing, at least up through 100. And that's plenty of material in the first place. And it's not just those 100 issues. There's a lot of side stuff that some of which isn't great, but a lot of which is, and is really important to that whole thing. Secret History of the Foot Clan, Shredder Goes to Hell, etc., etc. But anyway, let's move on then. Comicbookmovie.com, thanks to Austin for letting me know about this. Channing Tatum is making a Max movie.
What?
And he's apparently very excited about this. When Austin sent me this article, actually he didn't send me this article, but when he told me about this news, he said, it is possible, maybe even likely, that we get a movie based on The Max before Spawn. It's ridiculous. Now, this is not material that I'm familiar with. Like, I've heard of The Max, I know what it is, but I've never read it. I don't know much about the premise beyond I think it's supposed to be like a homeless guy who has like a fantasy world that he recedes into to escape his not great regular life, and that fantasy world is not actually in his head like you might think, but is in fact like another world that he goes to. I think that's the premise of The Max. And I could see the screen potential for something like that. It's not a bad idea to adapt. It is kind of weird that Channing Tatum like grabbed onto it the way he did, and apparently this is a thing he's been talking about for a while that I just hadn't heard anything about.
Wow. Interesting passion project. It's got to
Right?
be super stylized though. Like you have to. You can't play that realistically. Like look at him. He's like a big blue Hulk-looking figure with one Wolverine claw on each side, and like he has no jaw. His mouth is just the bottom half of his face.
I think the smartest way to play it, and this is going to be a weird reference, but is sort of like the Page Master,
Oh,
where the
so Macaulay Culkin should play him.
right, where the regular world stuff, right, and you got to get Christopher Lloyd in there somewhere, where the regular world stuff is live action, but as soon as you go to the fantasy world, that's all 100% CG.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Page Master was 2D animation, but you see what I'm saying, where you wouldn't even have, you know, any human characters in that world. You do it like Tron, except not having any physical human beings. That's how I do that movie.
Yeah.
It should be partially animated, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would love more animation, but we live in America, unfortunately.
See, that's fascinating. It's sounding like it's decently far along. Not that they're like, you know, into like actual pre-production yet, but it sounds like they've got more of this together than I would have expected. This says, after a few years without a single update, Daniel Rickman recently reported that this movie is finally moving forward at Paramount, with Channing Tatum still attached. Though things may have changed on this front, the trades originally reported that Tatum and Roy Lee had teamed up to produce via free association, along with principals Reed Carolyn and Peter Kiernan, with Lee on board via his Vertigo Entertainment, and Max creator Sam Keith was also supposed to produce with partner Val Vigorson. So like this says, we don't know how much of that is still true, but yeah, it sounds like that could actually happen. And that could be one of those cool things where it's like nobody's heard of this and doesn't even realize it's a comic book property, but it's, you know, sort of like Blade, and that makes it look fresh and original, because what people don't know can't always hurt them, DJ. You hear people constantly screaming for original material that's not based on anything, and if they've never heard of it, then they'll think it's that, and they'll potentially get excited and go see it, right? Like people looked at Guardians that way, where it's like, oh, good, finally something like something original and new that I haven't heard of. It's like, well, Guardians of the Galaxy is like several decades old. You just haven't heard of it before.
Yeah, this will be brand new. This will unleash a new image verse on the world and make all of those.
How are we
characters
getting that before Witchblade? How are we getting that before Darkness?
Savage Dragon. Was he Image?
Savage Dragon, yeah, he had a Spawn crossover.
Oh, there we go.
I reviewed it in Spawn Year. It's the only Savage Dragon thing I've ever read. I think
now you got to read the Max.
But yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll review it. I'm not against this on principle. I mean, it sounds like I'm not against anything you might try to adapt necessarily on principle, but it sounds like a thing that might make sense to try. So I don't know. It's just weird that Channing Tatum really wants to make that. I'm distracted because of the irony of you having an '89 Batman next to you and mine not having that. It's really weird in my brain.
Well, it's too bad we're not in like a cartoon, and I can just grab him and like shove him over into your screen, and then you would have him.
Yeah, but then he would just be animated.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not very animated. He's pretty dull, if I'm telling you the truth. He's been in my office for a week now, and he just kind of broods there. He doesn't.
Well, yeah,
do
he
much.
just crosses his arms and.
Yeah, he just sits there and judges all the work I do all day.
This comes from Deadline. DC Studios co-head James Gunn says J.J. Abrams' Superman film is still in development and shares the difficulties of an open casting call. We won't talk about that second part. This is just trying to beef up this article so that the whole thing isn't simply about a tweet where James Gunn responded to someone asking if the Black Superman movie was still happening, and he simply said, yes.
Oh, so many articles are just tweets these days that they have to fluff up.
That's all this article would be, and like it is certainly news, but it's hard to get a whole article out of this. So then they also were like, here's this other question somebody asked James Gunn about his casting process. Let's tack that in here too. But anyway, this is somewhat surprising news because I think a lot of people assumed that that movie was dead, and honestly, maybe even before the new DC universe was announced, because we hadn't heard anything about it in quite a while. I don't think Ta-Nehisi Coates has really talked much about it, or at least not that I've seen. Maybe somewhere, and I'm not keeping up as hard as I used to, so I don't know. But like, just, within my circles, people send me stuff. I hadn't heard anything about this in a long time. And I have now seen some videos come up from different channels that are really angry about this.
Oh, weird.
That say, okay, this proves that James Gunn hates Henry Cavill because he is keeping this project around but not keeping Cavill as Superman. And I'm like, guys, there's something called creative vision. And if you're wanting to build, and I'm a broken record, I've said this before, I'm a broken, expensive, but very pretty 2-disc purple glow-in-the-dark vinyl record DJ.
Wow.
If you're gonna reboot, and you're gonna build a whole new universe around and beginning with Superman, you don't want to confuse audiences with the last guy that people were really super polarized on. And beyond confusing people, people were really, really polarized on at least that project. Like, a lot of people liked Cavill in that role, but the idea that you could take another really high-profile Superman thing that's supposed to start a brand new universe and use the exact same actor from last time, in totally starting over, that's crazy talk to me. That doesn't sound like a great idea. And I get people that are upset that he never got his great Superman movie, and I sympathize with that. But to say that this is evidence that he just has a thing against Cavill is crazy. Now, because this is an Elseworlds thing, and they're calling it an Elseworlds thing, so it kind of makes sense to me that movie might potentially still be, in there and on the table, because there's potential with that. I like the Earth 23 Black Superman. The talk was always that that's what it was going to be based on. There's real, marketing potential in a movie about a president Superman. I hope that's where they go with it. I know there's been speculation back and forth that it was supposed to be Kal-El and not that version. It's been too long now. So I can't remember if they ever confirmed for sure that no, it's supposed to be a different version of Kal-El that is a black man as opposed to the Earth 23 president. I hope it's the president one, but regardless, but I'm not even against it the other way, because we're going to have multiple versions of Batman too in different universes. And so it makes sense and stands to reason to me that you would do an almost like reverse synergy thing where you do multiple versions of different major DC superheroes to tell people, yeah, we're not doing the old school DC again synergy thing of it's got to be the exact same take all across the board. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what that movie is like, but I don't understand. I don't understand people getting really upset about that and malicious about it, but.
Gotta get the clicks, man. Gotta get the clicks. Whatever it takes.
So, anyway, and then Plushie DX, didn't they say it would be a black Kal-El? Yeah, now that we're talking about it again, I vaguely remember that maybe being there, but I can't remember if they landed on that for sure. So I don't know. But regardless, I don't mind having various versions with Elseworlds projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said from the beginning they were going to do Elseworld stuff, so that makes sense that they could still do that. Yeah. Nobody's going to get that confused with the future going forward, like they might if Henry Cavill was in a movie.
Robert says, I'm open to it, but I would personally start with Superman Red Son as the Elseworld Superman movie, especially since they botched the animated adaptation. Personally, I don't need that, especially too early. I would love for their alternate Superman thing to not be a sort of bad guy Superman right away. Red Son isn't exactly that, but it is at least for part of that story Dark Superman in the first place. And I'm kind of burnt out on that, and everything has to go there.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So there's certainly other versions that I would get excited about doing first, especially if it's not President Superman. That's what I kind of hope that is, but anyway, and then the last piece of news I want to throw out real quick is well, you know, there's a rumor that Austin told me about that I kind of wanted to just throw out in case it ends up actually happening, and I don't have an article for that up here, but I'll bring that up and mention that too. Anyway, this is from Polygon. Rocksteady founders have a new post-Suicide Squad studio, which is interesting. 100 Star Games is scooping up Rocksteady talent. So let me just read some of this. Rocksteady Studios founders Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker have established a new development studio in London called 100 Star Games. It's described as a AAA game studio startup that will consist of only 100 industry veterans and emerging talents. What's the ratio? How many emerging talents are you allowed to have versus your industry veterans? 100 Star Games has not been officially announced, but it is listed on the corporate data website Indole. I'll skip around here a little bit. 100 Star also has a profile on the Great Place to Work website. Okay, it appears that the founders of this new company are bringing some of their colleagues from Rocksteady with them. A handful of lead developers and director-level Rocksteady employees have left the Batman Arkham studio in recent months to join in unannounced studio. And it sounds like there was maybe a falling out that happened in the middle of making the Suicide Squad game, and these guys, I think there's been a lot of talk for a while that this was going to happen. These guys are running off and doing their own thing, and that they want to get back to first-person campaign-driven games, as opposed to the games as a service thing that Suicide Squad is, and people will be excited about that because a lot of people are unhappy that that's what we did with the Suicide Squad game. It's taken forever to come out. It's finally going to come out next month, and there was an alpha that Austin got to play and has talked about a little bit now that he's allowed to. And he seemed to like it okay, but was mixed on some things with it, and that seems to be the consensus that it's okay. It's better than Avengers. It's kind of that Avengers thing again, where it's in multiplayer and it's and there's some like pay to play stuff inside of it, but it's not what people really want from that, especially in Arkham continuity, especially having to wait as long as they did. And the big question with this new studio is what kinds of projects they'll get their hands on, because you can't assume that this new studio is going to get more DC stuff, necessarily. I wouldn't think. So, I'm sure people will look at it as kind of the new Rocksteady if they get either an IP that people are really excited about them working on, or they do something original that looks really cool. But we'll have to wait and see, and with game development, it'll probably be 4 or 5 years before we see anything from that new studio. But, yeah.
Well, game development and Warner Brothers studio in movies, they also take 4 or 5 years to... I mean, I don't even know... How long have we known about that Superman movie? It feels like it's been forever.
That was announced back in 21? Maybe it was before that?
Jeez. 3 years and they still don't even have a production plan yet.
Okay, so I'm going to mention one more thing real quick, and I'm always hesitant to bring up rumors, but this is one that sounds plausible, so I just want to put a kind of put a tack in this. and we can revisit it when we later on see what actually ends up happening with this project. But this is one of those things where it's so behind the scenes we might never know for sure, so we might as well talk about it now. But this is from CBR. Rumor, Marvel Studios and Sony are at odds on Spider-Man 4 storyline, and Kingpin could appear, which has been the rumor, that Spider-Man 4 is going to be sort of soft rebooty and more grounded, and Kingpin will be the main villain. And that they'll do maybe like the Mayor Kingpin thing. That's been discussed. Part of the reason I wanted to talk about this, DJ, is if it's true, it won't remotely surprise you. A new rumor claims that Sony wants another multiverse Spider-Man movie, while Marvel and Tom Holland want to keep things grounded. Shocking.
Wait, well, at least Marvel doesn't want. At least Marvel's off the multiverse train at this point. They're like, well, that blew up in our face.
Besides that movie, it hasn't been great for them, and yeah, but that sounds like it's very, very plausible. That sounds like exactly the sides you would think they would take. But I think
that's almost
with Marvel Studios. I think it has as much to do with Tom Holland as it does anything. Like, this suggests that Holland really wants a more grounded thing, and I mean, he gets a little bit buried in his own movie. With No Way Home, you can see why he wouldn't want to do that kind of thing again. But I wonder if if Marvel Studios is kind of siding with him a little bit in not wanting the multiverse thing and going, and especially because that just becomes kind of gimmicky, right? And going, okay, well, we might lose him.
Sony, we're talking about, that's their one business plan is gimmick.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, like, of course that's what they want, because that's how they've always been. Well, it made money before. We got to pull all of our eggs in that basket.
Yeah, well, they want to cross over with all three They want the 3 Spider-Men from No Way Home and the 3 Spider-Women from Madam Web to all cross over. And then 6 Spider-Man will make twice as much money.
Hell, I wouldn't put it past them to mix all the live action and animated stuff together and do a Roger Rabbit of Spider-Man. Where it's like, So we made the Spider-Verse movies in animation, and we made No Way Home, which is basically a Spider-Verse movie. We're going to blow your minds by retroactively pretending like all roads were always leading to this giant crossover movie of live action and animation. Do you put it past them? Because I don't.
No, I don't. It's a miracle that the 2 Spider-Verse movies turned out as really, really good as they did, because I don't know how Sony is not ruining them. Like, I mean, they made them put a bunch of stupid references in the last one, but at least they didn't mess with the story at all. Maybe Tom Holland is just like seeing the writing on the wall, because he hasn't had a movie since Uncharted in 2022, and he has no upcoming movies. Like, usually if you go to someone's IMDb, there's like 3 or 4 upcoming. He has none except for untitled Spider-Man sequels. So maybe he's like, I got to do some more serious stuff, because everything I've been in has kind of flopped recently, except for No Way Home.
Well, and I kind of get the feeling, and I don't know this for sure, obviously, but I kind of get the feeling that he's maybe just not been real satisfied with some of the things you and I haven't been satisfied with, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
That his Spider-Man just hasn't really been moving forward in any real significant emotional ways. He's not like changing and growing as a character. He hasn't had a lot of like really interesting moral conundrums and problems in his life to deal with, and the No Way Home finally does some of that in spoiler alert, killing Aunt May, and it's just so contrived and forced and done by a Green Goblin from another universe, and like none of that's super satisfying. And then we're in a soft reboot place, so we do that stupid Hollywood thing where we're waiting for him to really become Spider-Man off, on his own, not under the net of an Iron Man or a Doctor Strange or someone, right? And then when when we finally look like we might get to that place or get anywhere close to it, we're already soft rebooting and starting over. It's really frustrating. So, like, I think this is a positive thing.
Yeah, he's been a
if it's
sidekick
true.
in all 3 of his own movies.
Yeah, this is a positive thing if it's true, because Tom Holland will probably have some he'll probably have some rope to make some demands in coming back, and I think he'll be smart enough to make the right ones.
It is going to be like, I would love to be able to go into the new Spider-Man movie and just love it for what it is, but that is like the most baggage of any movie I think I would ever bring into something, would be trying to see it, even though they kind of like pretended they erased everything at the end of the last one and it's just starting from scratch. Like, I don't trust them to not bring up a bunch of stuff from the trilogy. Like, there's no way.
Well, my worry would be they do a whole movie that gets away from all of that and doesn't really reference it too much and really kind of starts from scratch. And then in an after credit scene or sequels, they'll just bring it all back.
Yeah. Because they wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to even, like, what would you even do? Like, you can't have Gwen, you can't have Mary Jane. I guess you could meet Mary Jane. That would be really weird and contrived if he meets another MJ that's not
People have been talking about that.
related
Yeah.
to the MJ of that universe at all. But I guess he goes to college and he meets the real Mary Jane. It's just so weird, right? Like, it's so weird trying to take this, because it's not a full-on reboot, and trying to just push all that out of your head while you're watching it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it.
No, I mean, there's a part of me that would almost rather them just like use Tom Holland, but I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because of what I just said earlier about Henry Cavill. Except that last movie made $2 billion. Okay, that's the difference. There's a part of me that would almost rather them take Tom Holland and just jump to some like side universe where Spider-Man looks more like comic book Spider-Man, and then start from there and not have to worry about, like, you can cast it any way you want to, you can reintroduce any characters you want to, and just have them kind of more in the middle of a status quo.
Yeah, just Spirit of Vengeance it.
Just do that. Yeah.
That's the model we should all follow.
Just Spirit of Vengeance it. We're gonna make those t-shirts.
Yeah.
Okay, DJ, that's all the news. Do you see questions? Do you see anything that we should talk about?
We just had 2 more Patreon questions.
Is it time for bed yet?
No, it's definitely time for bed for me.
Yeah, I'm having that too. Apologies, folks. I think I've been up too late the last few nights in a row. Go ahead, sir.
All right, we got 2 more, last 2 Patreon questions from Thomas Edgehill. What season of the Geekvolution channel had the collectively best series, and what shows have been cut, and what's been renewed for the 2024 season?
Oh, for a minute there, I thought we were having to go back through like the whole history of the channel or something. Okay, reread that one more time.
I guess that's what he's talking about. He's just calling them seasons. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know.
But when he says like what got cut or whatever, I thought we were talking about like back in the day or something. But like now we're in the present. Read that again. I'm not really totally sure what I'm supposed to do with this.
What season of the Geekvolution channel had the collectively best series? And what shows have been cut and what's been renewed for the 2024 season?
Well, what I can tell you about the plan for this year is that we're going to make everything we can get away with making while I have a newborn and 5 other kids in the house. But my plan...
It's the only criteria.
So none of this is promised, is stuff I'm promising, and as you know, as I often do, I've got like a lot of ambitious ideas and a lot of stuff I want to do, and I probably won't get around to half of it. But what I want to do this year is get back to really prioritizing Superhero Rewind Unscripted, the commentary project, and do that at least twice a month. If I could get away with it, I would do it weekly. I would love to do that every Friday, and I just don't think it's in the cards. But I'm gonna try to do it at least twice a month. We're gonna pretty soon have to start doing Request again, and Captain Logan Show will still be once a week. I'm gonna keep going with the Ninja Turtles commentaries. I want to get through as much of that show this year as possible to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Ninja Turtles. I also want to start doing IDW reviews through the Tom Waltz series, especially with the relaunch happening. This is the perfect time to go through all of that. And again, I don't know how realistic it is to do that. It's going to be hard to prepare for a lot of stuff, which is partly why you're seeing a lot of watch parties and reaction content from me right now. But as far as things being canceled, Oh, and also we're doing the Dominion War Deep Space Nine series with Star Trek Club, and we're going to try to do that twice a month on Tuesdays. Brandon and Adam have been begging me to bring that back, and Deep Space Nine just had a big anniversary, so it seemed like a good time to do that. And again, we'll do that as often as possible for the 16 people that care about that. And then, as far as things being canceled, I can't really stream during the day very much right now, which makes it very difficult for Jason and I to continue with the pilot show. So it's not canceled, but I don't know when it's coming back, and there hasn't been a ton of interest in that. I know people that have been watching that have really been liking it. We've been enjoying making it, but that seems to be for quite the niche audience. So I don't know when that's going to come back, but like that's not straight up canceled or anything. As far as going all the way back, what season or what year, I guess, there was a time, DJ, where I thought about doing the season model for Superhero Rewind, where I would put out 10 or 12 and then take the rest of the year off and then come back and do that again. That was a really great idea. I should have done it like that, but I never did.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have playlists or like season 1, season 2, season 3.
Yeah, it would. But then we got to a point where that show was so all over the place in format, where it just kept changing, that it wasn't consistent and it looked weird in a playlist anyway. So it was hard to get as excited about that, which is partly why we're doing the commentary thing now, because it's at least more uniform. And eventually, if we have close to every superhero movie for commentaries, that will look really cool in a playlist. So we're going to try to start doing those again pretty soon. But anyway, so as far as what is season or year, what did he say had like the best series?
Yeah. Season had collectively the best series.
Okay, so he means the best like grouping of shows we're doing at once. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, maybe so.
The cop-out thing would be to say right now, or what we have been doing before this hiatus, but I almost want to say that just because like the way we've streamlined, and I'm trying to do more of this blend commentary and stuff, but just as far as like the regular shows we do week to week, having like Request and Captain Logan show and the commentary project, I'm pretty happy with that as a schedule. As far as like what year had the best collection of series, I've done this for 15 years and it all runs together, so it's kind of hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, especially because you weren't thinking of them as seasons. You were just thinking, or even years. You were just thinking of them as. Everybody always calls them eras.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's what our audience tends to do. Is they're like, you got the Vincent Cap era, and then you've got like the Seven era, and then you've got like the Omnibus era, et cetera, et cetera. And then we come into, I guess like the Me and You and Austin era, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think this is just fully the Austin era. I was there for a few years before Austin came on, but he's taken complete over. This is the Austin era.
That's true.
He's on everything.
Which I really appreciate, because there would be far less content if I didn't have a co-host for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's been great. I don't mean to talk about him like a warm body. I'm just saying, like, he's really he's done a lot to keep me enthusiastic and to keep the train running. I don't think anybody is aware of, and he'll blush when I say this, but I don't think anybody is aware of how instrumental Austin has been in the last 3 years. Not just because he's in a lot of content, but just in helping me get reinvigorated. He's done a lot for the channel that you guys, because like. I got my big family. I'm busy. I have a lot going on. It would have been very easy to stream back even a lot more than I did or quit. And Austin has a lot to do with why that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's a great superhero name, the Instrumental Austin. It's like a Stan Lee moniker.
Robert says this is the off the rails era. There's a part of me, and I put up I'm using poll today based on this whole thing. There's a part of me that wants to keep the quote-unquote hiatus going for as long as humanly possible. where I'm still streaming like 3, 4, 5 times a week, but I never announce anything, and we just keep claiming that we're on hiatus. And people have been calling that the hiatus era. So I don't want it to.
How often can you change the name of the channel? Because you should just go on and change it to Hiatus Volution.
Hiatus Volution, yeah. I think you can change it every, like, I don't know, 6 weeks or something.
Oh, that's a long time to have that name.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and check the rules again. I forget. I wasn't sure the Live with Captain Logan thing would stick, but I've been pretty happy with it.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Just in communicating, hey, we do mostly live content now. Also, I've started doing 2 or 3 shorts a day, and those have been going pretty well. I'm gonna keep that up. I don't know if you've seen them,
I've been seeing those. How are you doing that? You can edit it in YouTube and just it posts it as a short and links it back to the video. I thought that was pretty cool.
And it's so easy and fast, and I don't have to do any real editing, and like it's super lazy, but it works, and that's why I've been doing it. If you have a YouTube channel, so you can't do this with other people's videos, and for good reason, but it's a thing on the back end that you're allowed to do as long as you don't have a copyright flag on a video. I have found that if you have a flag, it doesn't let you do it.
Oh.
But which kind of makes sense because they don't want you to make a short out of the flagged part.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, because those are monetized, so you can see why they do that. But it gives you a little editor in the back end where you can take 15 seconds or a minute, just like with any shorts. They give you a like timeline for your video, so you can scroll around and you can change the length. It's a little hard to do on a phone to get it like to the second perfect, and sometimes where I thought it went up to like actually cuts off or goes too long.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not always perfect, but it's a snippet. I think people kind of understand, like it's kind of trying to entice you to go look at the larger video. But we've gotten a few new subscribers out of it.
Is it the clip button? Is that what it is?
No, clips are different. On your you got to look at your own videos to see it, but it is remix.
Oh, I see.
And it gives you various ways to remix, and one of them is to turn things into shorts.
Gotcha. Yeah, I should maybe try that. I've been doing streams on Monday every week, and I could maybe pull something from there. People have been asking questions that I could maybe do. Might have to mess around with that. That's pretty cool, man. Look at you! Look at you adapting to the new methods.
Only because it's very, very easy, and because I don't know if there's a way to actually edit it where you can like put different pieces of it together like you do with an edited short. The only thing I've been able to do is take like a minute of it and just post that. So I have to find a minute where there's enough substance, because I can't jump around. I can't cut anything out of it. But so far I've been able to find those. So that's been nice. And there's been a lot of things that sound like really good video topics that I would never have thought to make a video about. So like one of them was Jon Favreau should make Spider-Man 4. And like I would have never I came up with that in the middle of a video. Like that was in the middle of one of the history videos. That was an idea that hit me that I'd never thought about before. I just went, "Oh wait, what if Jon Favreau made that?" And then, you go back and you find that and you go, "Oh, that's a good video." And then you just post it. And now you have a thing that makes a lot of sense to be on this channel that I never would have thought to make.
Yeah,
that by itself is a minute's worth of content, and that some people found that have not been watching the channel. So I'm gonna keep doing those, and I've been trying to find like some fun jokey portions of especially like watch parties. So we had a whole thing about like Jason just not feeling it at all with Gotham. That was one of the ones we did. I posted one today from just last night's Ninja Turtles video about how it might have been amusing if that show had been in black and white.
I saw that one.
So yeah, but check those out, folks, especially if you don't have time to watch the 10 to 12 hours of content we make a week.
That's really cool.
But anyway, okay, what else do you see, DJ? Let's try to knock at least a couple more questions out if we have any before we finish the show tonight.
All right, last one on Patreon is from Damon Bigay. What was
Damon
the
Begay.
last
He's a
comic?
patron.
Oh, cool. Well, that's why he's asking questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was from Patreon. I'm stupid. Go ahead.
What was the last comic run you followed all the way through and enjoyed most of?
Wow. That's a good... So he means linearly, like... Or does he? Does he mean, like, the most recent of run? I mean, he says followed. So I would assume he means the most recent run, like, as it was going, that I was actually keeping up with.
Yeah, or just the last one you personally did, because he said just a comic run that you followed all the way through. But I guess, yeah, followed.
Followed kind of suggests as it's coming out, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
All the way to the end? Boy, I couldn't even tell you. That, honestly, even when I was keeping up real hard with a lot of comics, didn't happen that often. I tended to jump ship with a lot of things when, well, I don't know how true that is. I was going to say I tended to jump ship with things where it became clear that a book was going to get, like, canceled and retooled before a writer got to finish this thing. But I guess I still would, like, read until that happened with a lot of things. I don't know. Maybe... like, I don't know, Tom King Batman. I'm trying to think if there's anything after that. Like, I haven't, because you said completion, like, there's stuff that's not done yet that I still check back in with, like, Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, but as far as things that actually finished, yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, too long to remember.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting answer at all. Okay, DJ, give us another one, sir.
One more. Let's go back to the beginning of the show. Cinematographic, films by color. Cap and DJ, if Ready Player One was a Star Trek movie, what color grade would you give it? Summer blockbuster or holiday movie?
What? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I don't write the questions.
With respect.
I just read them.
I don't... I'm lost on all of that. So, I have to imagine Ready Player One is a Star Trek movie. Why is it a Star Trek movie? What about it is a... How's it a Star Trek movie? And then, like, so the color grading
just
of
pulls
it...
out a Mad Lib to come up with these questions sometimes.
The color grading changes in that movie because now it's a Star Trek thing. I don't even know what kind of a Star Trek movie it is or who's making it, or, like, not all Star Trek looks the same. Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to answer that.
He pleads the fifth. Here's one from Connor.
Sure, thanks,
Connor
man.
just popped in, like, right before we're closing, and he says, Cap, I know you're super busy and don't expect anything, but any ideas for scripted videos you may want to do in the new year? Have you had anything?
Yes.
Thinking about?
I don't know if I want to say what they are.
Oh, okay. No spoilers.
Because if I do, people will be chomping at the bit for them. I can't, just like Connor said, I can't promise scripted stuff. What do I want to say it? Because, like, I don't want to get people's hopes up. I just don't know if I'm going to have time to do it. First of all, there are
promises.
There are reviews that I go back and forth on doing off the cuff or doing scripted. Because, and I don't mean to sound lazy, but some of it is... A lot of stuff just does the same numbers-wise, whether it's off the cuff or scripted. And if I script it, I've got to edit it, and that adds hours to the time of making the thing, plus all the streaming I'm doing. So it's harder to put that commitment in, but then sometimes there's things I just really want to write about.
Mm-hmm.
I do sometimes miss that kind of writing. But I don't know, I go back and forth on it, right? Where, like, I wrote so many scripted rewinds that I look back on that now and I go, well, God, I don't know how many other ways I can say contrived, convoluted. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many more food metaphors I have in me. I don't know, like, I don't know, it feels fresher sometimes and less redundant to do it off the cuff with just the ideas that come to you in the moment, as opposed to being, more like streamlined, for lack of a better word, like professional about it. But I do sometimes miss that kind of writing too, and I know a lot of folks on the channel miss that. So all of that to say, I have seriously been considering coming back and doing like a big really taking my time with it rewind project that would be like an old scripted rewind. But I don't want to say like what movie or anything. I have a if I came back and did it, I know which one I would start with. If I could find the time to do multiple ones, and I have a list of like 10 or 12 if I made a big project out of it. But that's all I'm going to say, because I don't know that it's going to happen.
All right, we'll keep him guessing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable talking about that, because it's gonna sound like being like really wishy-washy and announcing things that I'm not gonna come back and do, and like I'm not announcing anything.
No,
saying,
if people take that as an announcement, that's on them.
Like, yes, I've been thinking about scripted things I'd like to do. I would almost need to take some time off from streaming to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like, it's I don't know how smart for that or how smart that is for me, like on a financial side and keeping interest in the channel and all of that. So, as I always say, it's a balancing act.
Well, that's a good teaser.
Anyway,
it's not a teaser. It's not an announcement.
It's not a yeah. And also keep in mind, I'm wanting to make a movie this year. I mean, maybe the easier, faster thing to have said would have been, well, I already did a scripted video. It's just going to take a lot of time and be very expensive.
You scripted it. You just got to film it.
I did write a thing last year that I'm very proud of, and I've got a second draft that it's ready to go. It's right here, by the way. This is it. This is the script.
Oh, awesome.
We've got it. It's right here.
Oh, no, he's Tom Hollanding right now.
I really am. Yeah, check it out. Here it is. It's the second draft of the superhero rewind movie.
Enhance.
Yeah, let me find a random page.
There's no way they could. Are you doing this in 1080p? And then you're even smaller, so there's no way.
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think anybody would really be able to do that. I'm trying to find a page that wouldn't give too much away.
Oh, it's 720, so yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna flash it on the screen. But this is the script. I think you guys should be happy with this if we can get the damn thing
I love that
made.
you have it in a purple folder. That's great.
Yeah, I had to.
Should get Grace to make you a little logo sticker to stick on the front.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I'll stick it. When he shows up, I'll give it to Keaton to give it to you. Whenever he makes it over to you.
So I don't know why we need a middleman like that, but
well, he's the enforcer.
The cardboard enforcer. What a horrible superhero name.
It's right up there with the. I can't even remember what adjective you used to describe Austin at this point. I'm falling asleep.
Oh, another scripted thing, and I have talked about this before. Another scripted thing I've wanted to do forever is a History of the Tick video.
Oh yeah.
I've wanted to do that for years. Well, and actually, I know what the title of it would be if I could do it as comprehensively as I want to, but it might have to be like a multi-part video. I always wanted it to call it the nigh definitive history of the tick, or the nigh complete history of the tick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay, do you see anything else that we really need to cover? We got just 2 minutes left in the program.
No, I don't see anything.
We have no minutes left in the program.
We're all out of minutes. Austin, read us the minutes from the program.
Yeah, Austin, you have a minute and 35 seconds
to read us 2 hours of minutes.
Thomas Lowe, bring back Tick Month cap. I mean, nobody would care about that, but
Tick Month sounds like a very unpleasant, like horrible night at the Williamsons.
Yeah, just every day somebody's got to pull them off of you after you've been, out in the woods.
I had to pull my first tick off of my daughter when we were at Christmas. When we were in Jackson for visiting my wife's family for Christmas. There was one on the back of her neck. It was very, very stuck on there. Very, very gross.
Man, that's no fun.
But luckily we got it before we got too far in. just came right out.
That's you know what though? Those are all monumental occasions, right? Like the first time anything happens with your kids. Oh, make sure you get the tick in the baby book.
Well, that was the first time I ever have seen a tick in my life. So.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
I had to deal with that a little bit when I was a kid. You know, I was in Boy Scouts and things. And...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never. Luckily, I mean, I was outside all the time, but just never got one.
Well, you know, I mean, I've dodged bullets like that. I've never been stung by a bee.
Oh, I've been stung by a bee once.
Jason has. Yeah, I've never been stung by a bee. I've never broken a bone.
Yeah, me neither. Look at us. We're so safety conscious.
Look at dodging bullets. We always wear our helmet. If I get massively hurt, it will be making this movie.
That's probably true.
It's probably true. Well, do you know anything about it? Have I talked to you about it?
No, I'm going in blind like I do every movie.
Oh. Okay.
No trailers here.
No, I have plans for a couple of things that could be really dangerous if I'm not careful. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
But anyway, hey, we're going to go ahead and get going, folks. Hope you enjoyed tonight's kind of lackadaisical Captain Logan show. And we're going to try to come back next week if we can to do another one for you. But again, still technically sort of on hiatus. I numbered this one. We're going to shoot for weekly again. But there may be some weeks that we have to bow out because of stuff going on, life stuff. But DJ, I appreciate you going late into the night like this. You know, I can tell you're tired. There's like yawning, and I apologize for how late we're having to go.
Oh, I apologize for yawning. I shouldn't be doing that.
Oh yeah, that's a question, DJ. When we put out a trailer for that movie, are you gonna not watch it?
No, of course I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'll subscribe. I'll hit the bell. I'll do everything to support it. I'll leave comment.
I'll make a 1 minute. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll make a 1 minute short out of a 1.5 minute trailer.
Well, it could be the teaser at the beginning of the trailer that's like telling you that a trailer is about to happen. Please do that. If you're parodying superhero movies, you have to do that.
That's good. And I should put the last frame of the movie in the trailer.
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking about trying to get an editor for that movie and not actually editing it myself.
Cool.
But I don't know because everybody working on that movie, it's going to have to be pro bono. Like we're not paying anybody. So I've gotten lucky about some of the volunteers I've gotten so far, but I don't know if I can find a volunteer editor. That is a hefty job.
Editing is quite the task, especially an hour long, multiple hour long edit job.
I will say there's no way it's less than an hour 45, and if we can get it down to that would be a miracle. Like it's what is the page count now with the second draft? It's definitely close to 2 hours, if not. Okay, I got it down to 108.
Oh, there you go.
I got it down to 108, but I still think it's going to be close to 2 hours probably.
And that's just the script for the trailer.
Yeah, it used to be longer. I managed to get probably 10 or 15 pages cut.
You're gonna finally understand Zack Snyder after you make this film.
I'm gonna be like, God, I get why all of his movies are 4 hours and why he has to have a lengthy rated R cut. And I thought about doing 2 cuts of this.
The ultimate cut.
Because I did make sorry, we're gonna get going. Everybody's sick of this. I was gonna make I have made the statement before that I was on the fence about. I think I've talked about this, that I was on the fence about like language, like how much swearing was gonna be in the movie. And as it stands right now, there is at least one F-bomb in the film. Which people will be surprised about coming from me, but the context of it.
Yeah, it's just
really,
it's so perfect. That way. You're just trying to get into a car and you can't open the door.
I don't know. That was pretty funny though. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, folks. We're gonna get going now. I'm having deja vu. I think I said that already. I'm Captain Logan. This is DJ Martinez. Bye, everybody.
Well, this is the ultimate cut. We close it 3 or 4 times.
No, keep saying things. I have to get the music up here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, it's the Return of the King of Geekvolution, so there's going to be multiple endings. I can't wait to walk you off into the Undying Lands.
I wish I had Celtic music at the ready. I don't, but...
I have my bagpipes, so I'm going to grab them.
Anyway, oh, that's not even the right music. God, what am I doing here? What is
Tell you
happening?
guys, 294 is our episode. We're gonna nail it.
We're gonna finally figure out how the hell it works. Bye, everybody.